Hi folks, Mr. Long here. We're going to do a screencast today on graphing straight lines in what's called standard form. So it's we don't have y all by itself with a slope and a y-intercept. We've got to do some manipulation. Now there are a variety of ways to do this. What I'm going to do is show you one way to do it. And the goal here is to put this line in the form x over a plus y over b equals 1. Okay, and this is a way to graph straight lines in a nice and easy way. So, here's the first thing we're going to do. I always want the right side to be equal to 14. So I've got, equal to 1, not 14. So I want the right side equal to 1. So right now that's 14. I want it to be equal to 1. Well, what's the way that I can turn a 14 into a 1 is to divide by 14. So what I'm going to do now is to divide both sides by 14. Because I can't just divide one side by 14, right? So divide all of those by 14. So we end up with, we're going to convert those to decimals. Now if you're good with fractions, you can certainly do this. There are many ways to do this though. So the first one is 0.143 x plus, and then we do 3 divided by 14, which is 0.214y, and that equals 1. Okay, that equals 1. So now I need to get this in terms of what are called unit fractions, right? I have to have x over a and y over b. Okay, I need to do that. Now, I'm just going to erase this right now to get this out of the way so that I have lots of space to do these calculations. So here's what I need to do to get it in a unit fraction. Now this is a little bit tricky, and again, this is just approximate because I'm using decimals. But here's what we do. We do x divided by 1 divided by 0.143 plus y divided by 1 divided by 0.214, and that equals 1. All I'm doing is I'm making this into what's called a unit fraction. So if I do 1 divided by that 0.143, so here's where you reach for your calculator, that works out to be 6.99, which rounds to 7.0. So that becomes x divided by 7 plus, then I need to do this calculation here. 1 divided by 0.214. 1 divided by 0.214 equals 4.67, which is 4.7. So y divided by 4.7, and that equals 1. Okay, so notice in these steps that we did in this line right here, I'm just going to put that in highlighter, we used 3 decimal places, okay, rounded appropriately. In the final step, we go to 1 decimal place, okay, in the final step. And now what this allows me to do is to sketch this graph very easily, okay, very, very easily. And what it would do if I had this x and y axis, then I would know the x-intercept is 7, and I would know the y-intercept is 4.7. And the straight line would go through those two. So it would go through y equals 7, x equals 7 and y equals 4.7. But again, the steps are the same every time. Okay, you want to get the right side equal to 1. Well, the only way that you turn a 14 into a 1, or there are other ways, but the one way that's easiest in this case is divide by 14. But you can't just divide one side of the equation by 14. You have to divide both sides of the equations by 14. So you divide all the terms by 14, and now you get a decimal equivalent. 0.143x plus 0.214y equals 1. And now we have to convert that to what are called unit fractions. Okay, and our way to do this, there are different ways to do it, but we can do 1 divided by 0.413, and that gives us a unit fraction. So now we have x over 7. And in the next line, we do 1 divided by 0.214, and that gives us, 4.7. Okay, 4.7. And then after that, it's just a matter of graphing. So that's how you graph in what are called lines in standard form. Okay, lines in standard form.